G'day and welcome to the channel. This is Labushka and a happy International Women's Day to you, which is the theme of this CAS video. So when I found out that International Women's Day was going to be, on March 8th, I I reflected. It kind of made me think of my female Sims in, my save files over the years. And it made me think about, who are the strongest characters that I've had and what are their stories. And I kind of, got to reflecting. And so I decided to take three of my top, female Sims from, the past few years and to give them a makeover because a lot of them were not made recently. Give them a makeover, kind of tell you their story and throw them up on the gallery as a kind of casual way, to pay homage to today, March 8th, International Women's Day. So let's jump into CAS and you can see the makeovers that I did of the characters. And of course, I'll tell you a bit about them as we go. Okay, so our first sim here is Annabelle Winchester. Now, Annabelle has, I think it's the successful lineage aspiration, and she is super family oriented. She is a perfectionist, and she's also really self-assured. Full disclosure, I had so much trouble with her hair, as you will see as we're going along in this video. But Annabelle was an adopted child, so she was orphaned when she was very young, and she was adopted into a really loving family. So for her, it was like the biggest, I guess, positive thing like in her life that happened that really shaped, who she was to become later on as a teen, as an adult, and as actually a mother, because she ended up adopting like a full family, worth of kids. So she didn't actually have, any kids of her own. And I guess this is kind of like for her, like a sense of justice, giving somebody else, like these kids that she adopted, a chance, just like somebody did for her. She really saw it as like sort of life-saving in a way. So that was like the biggest thing in her story in my save file. So she ended up, living in Windenburg. She got married to this lovely gentleman. I think his name was Oliver, and they had this really big family. So that's kind of who she is as a person, and her perfectionist and self-assured side, she has a lot of confidence. The perfectionism, I think, comes from the fact that her personality is that she just really wants to succeed at anything that she, does. It's really important to her. So that's why I gave her also, or that's why she has the successful lineage family aspiration or family related aspiration, because, she kind of expects that from her kids as well. And you can, like, the way that I played her anyway was that she was a really strict parent, and maybe, that could come across as like, like as a bad thing, but I think she just really wanted her kids to also be really successful, that they had the opportunities that, she was also lucky enough to have and that she was given. So, and not necessarily, I wouldn't say like a controlling parent, but a strict, maybe some high expectations from the kids, but just, that it comes from like a good place. I hope that makes sense. I don't mean it in a bad way at all. So she's very much like that herself. She wants to achieve anything she puts her mind to. And, she wants the same for the kids too. So as I said, I had a lot of trouble with her hair. I think because I mainly use CC hair in the game. So, and this actually a long time ago, I think it might have actually been when I created her, like originally a couple of years ago. And I realized like how much I had trouble with the afro kind of textured, as the filter says, afro textured hairstyles in the game, because there just weren't enough and there wasn't a lot of variety. So I ended up actually downloading a bunch, and that's like how I got into CC hair, and now it's like what I use all the time. So kind of using just what comes with the packs for giving her the makeover, I found really, really challenging because I didn't want to use any CC, and I wanted to upload it to the gallery, upload these Sims to the gallery, and just have them, be without any custom content. So people can just download it if they want to. If they don't want to, also good. This was also the first time that I got to explore using those like, now is it vitiligo, the new kind of skin quality characteristic. I don't know really what to call it. I don't want to say condition, that makes it sound like an illness. But I really haven't had a chance to use that yet because I haven't been giving anyone any kind of makeovers. And honestly, I just really love the contrast it created with her skin, and I just love the idea of kind of inclusion, because like that's actually the theme, or one of the themes for this International Women's Day this year is about inclusion. So I kind of gave all of these Sims some either freckles or this vitiligo or some like birthmarks, things like that, because these things actually weren't in the game when any of these Sims were created. A lot of this has come afterwards. So, I really wanted the opportunity to kind of reflect a little bit of the inclusivity, while still maintaining, my original Sims and the idea of who they are as people, which of course their appearance is just one factor of that. It's really the character and the story behind them. So when I made these Sims, I was thinking like, should I already put them in careers? I don't actually remember what her original career was because it really was not the focus of the save. But I decided to actually kind of like clone my original Sims, like essentially make a twin, and then have used them as the ones I'll upload to the gallery. So they don't have any skills, they don't have any careers, they don't have any relationships. So essentially, like they're clean Sims, which I thought might be better because I don't personally like downloading Sims from the gallery that already have like all their skills done or skills maxed and things like that. So I thought we'd start fresh. Hey, this hairstyle with I don't even know what they're technically called, like the dongles next to the face, right? I was so bummed. I kept trying to use this and I couldn't find a way of using it. I'm like, I don't know how to style this hair. Um, you know, I have no idea what does that go with? What does it look good with? I've always found that hairstyle like kind of really overwhelming in terms of not knowing what to do with it. So I kept trying, and I think in the end I didn't have even one outfit that used that hairstyle. I just kind of stuck with this one that made sense to me. And kind of made sense like with her having longer hair. Because that's also another thing in the game, that there might be now more hairstyles with this kind of texture, but there's like not that many variations of long hair, of the medium hair, the short hair. So they don't always, the nicest hairstyles don't always match in that sense, in terms of the length. So that's kind of a bit of a bummer. And we should almost be done with her. And I think I run through the outfits. I do a once over. To sort of just kind of recap, I only gave all of them one outfit per category because I figured that was probably enough. Usually for myself, when I'm creating a sim, I give them, a couple of outfits per category, but I thought this was probably good. I was getting, I was getting like criminal vibes because I was giving her like so much like dark colored stuff to wear. But in the end, I decided that I was going to stick with it because I thought she kind of looks a bit badass and I really liked it. And I ended up really loving this hairstyle. I haven't used it that much. I think it came with the horse ranch pack. But I've really loved it for her. I think it really suited her personality, her sort of strong character. And she just kind of looked really cool to me. I just really enjoyed it. And the cool little earrings too from the cooking pack that we just had come out. So I think we're about done. Oh yeah, I always do the nail polish last. But this didn't take me too long. I think like she actually took me the longest because of my inability to deal with the hairstyles. And then the other two took me a little bit shorter time, but more or less actually the same amount of time. But yeah, she definitely took the longest. I had quite a bit of trouble with her. This next sim is probably my favorite. I'm attached to her because she's actually inspired by a character from a book that I read. So this is Alisa Marchenko. And I mean, I read sci-fi texts or books, fiction. It's not the only kind of stories that I read, but definitely kind of is my go-to, or has become my go-to. And I can't remember the name of this series, but anyway, she is actually the main character, or kind of one of the main characters of that series. And so, of course, being a sci-fi, it's set in space and all that jazz. If you really like sci-fi stuff, you know what I'm talking about, space opera style. And so she's very much based, of course, on that character. And, she's adventurous. She is like super, super duper loyal to like friends, especially to family. And she also has a really playful side, which is why I've given her the goofball trait as well. And, in space, like we didn't really have any space based aspirations. So I gave her this mountain kind of always extreme sports enthusiast actually aspiration, because that kind of goes with her adventurous side. She doesn't like to necessarily be stuck in one place all the time. But anyway, her story is that in the book, she was on a journey essentially over a few books, like lots of stuff happened, but the overarching story was that she was on a journey to be reunited with her daughter. So her daughter was maybe like about 10, years old, like a kid still. And she essentially like traveled the galaxy, went through all this stuff just to kind of get her daughter back. And, like what she went through to do that was, I think, pretty incredible in the story. And this kind of carried over into her life, like on Earth, if you want to say, like in The Sims. She had a really big family. She ended up having quite a few kids with her, what becomes her husband, who is like this cyborg, like half cyborg guy from the story. So I made him too, but this is International Women's Day, so he's not in this. But I did make him too for my own save file. And she what she like she was that's why she's like fiercely loyal, I think, because in my mind at least, because she went through all of that. She was successful as a when she came kind of to Earth, let's say. She was successful in the astronaut career, but as the not as the astronaut, the other branch. And then after that she became a botanist, and she was successful at those things, but it was never the main thing, in her life. It just kind of happened to be, well, like, something you need to do, right? You need to work. And she's kind of the quiet achiever. So although she might be adventurous, she might be a goofball, she's not necessarily outgoing, in terms of she's not necessarily extroverted. She's more of an introvert. So she's the quiet achiever that kind of, flies under the radar and takes care of the people that she knows, that she loves, take care of herself. But, she kind of doesn't need to be around people all the time, doesn't need to make a fuss. They don't need to know that she's there, anything like that. So I had a lot of fun giving her a makeover, because she's, out of the 3 Sims that I've got here today, she's the one that I played with the most. I even played into her daughter's life. Her daughter had kids. Like I got to the 3rd generation of, of this particular family. So I was really like super invested in their story, in their kind of generational story as well. So this was a really fun one for me personally to do. And I enjoyed this party outfit because it sort of seemed like a bit out of character for her to have something a little bit more, I don't know, goth looking, but I could like see her doing that as well, just for a bit of fun. So yeah, I think they actually they ended up living in Brindleton Bay as well. And yeah, she she topped the botanist career too, which was awesome. Starting off, in a rags to riches style, actually, that's how I played it. So that they started off in just like some rundown shack of a trailer or something, and it ended up being, a big sprawling kind of estate with a big greenhouse and even like a granny flat actually as well. There was a granny flat too, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, she's as I said, she's kind of the oldest character for me of the 3. And so I felt a lot more confident with my like choices giving her the makeover, because I felt a lot more sure of her as a character, if that makes sense. So, and like, yeah, her the hairstyles was not not nearly as much of an issue in this case with her. She kind of looks quite the same as the original one that I actually played with. So that was a lot of fun. If anyone's interested in, getting the rest of her family, like I can always upload those Sims to the gallery as well if you comment and let me know. So, I've got her husband, I've got the daughter that she saved, from across the universe, who then ended up having a family of her own. She became a doctor. She had I think triplets, and then one of those triplets the was actually the main leading lady of one of my first LPs on the channel, which was I did this scenario surviving the holidays, and that I think what was her name, Micah Gibson. She's actually the granddaughter of Elisa Marchenko here. So I really enjoyed playing with this family. And then we have here Audrina. I want to say Cardenia. Like, hey, I don't speak Spanish or any of the Romance languages, but that's my best I can do. But um, now when I made her twin, she looked a little bit different from the original, so it took me a little while to make some adjustments to kind of reflect the original Audrina from my own save. And she is honestly probably the scariest of the three. I think she's like, as in, I would find her the most intimidating if I actually met her in person. This lady is fierce. Despite appearances, her sweet face, and, kind of maybe some like the way she dresses and things, you might not know, but this one is fierce, I'm telling you. So she is ambitious, she is an overachiever, and she is good, okay? And her aspiration is neighborhood confidant. Now, her story is probably, I'd say on my part, the most developed. Like with Elisa's story, the previous sim, her story came a lot from the book that I read. Okay, so like that character was really in mind when I continued the story in The Sims. But Audrina is probably I've put the most effort into her story, and like for me as a player of The Sims in my personal time, like she's one of the Sims that I've put the most effort into in terms of generating a story, kind of in a really, really long time. So I also, it was so hard for me to choose hairstyles for her. I use only CC hair for her and a lot of short hairstyles because I feel like, or those medium hairstyles, I feel like that's really a range of hairstyles in the game that we are super missing. Nice, consistent length, you know, some with, because we have like some with fringes, some with not. Like I'm looking at them going, or bangs, like they're the right length, but they have bangs. Then this is wavy, I want straight. Like, tied up, this is a bit longer than a hairstyle you might have down. Like, there's just such inconsistency. Like, I just want a matching set of hairstyles, is how I feel like for medium length. Something tied up, a couple of hairstyles down, something half up, half down. But anyway, so I had a lot of trouble with the hairstyles for her for that reason, because I only use CC for her, but that's okay. I managed. Now, her story is that she is actually in the politician career as a charity organizer, and she is fiercely passionate about human rights. And I've made her a bit more girly and made her wear a bit more makeup than I did actually, for my own gameplay, just because I thought it'd be fun to give her a bit more of a makeover. But she is super fierce. I'm telling you, she's like, I don't need no man. I'm my own woman. I don't need anybody. She kind of takes care of herself and her kids. So she ended up having two twins, and she's married at the moment, but I think she's going to get divorced soon and probably just go back to being on her own, because she's the kind of person that she's so passionate about what she does, and she has really, really high expectations of herself and her career, that she kind of looks for that in, her spouse, in her partner. So the guy that she's with at the moment, anyway, he is not cutting it. He's just like way too chill and laid back. And like this lady, in her free time, all she does is even work on her career. So she's in the charity organizer career. Of course, she works full time. She has the kids, but she also writes books, and she makes a lot of videos at the video station from Get Famous. Kind of around awareness to do with human rights issues. So that's really the focus of her life. Like when she's not kind of taking care of the kids or she's not working, this is what she's doing. She's writing books and she's making videos. And I think apart from maybe a bit of wellness, she doesn't really have any hobbies. Like her career is her hobby. And I think she is like a low level fame anyway in my file at the moment, but like that's not, she doesn't really care about the fame. She just cares about raising awareness. So if kind of having a bit of fame lets her do that, that's the key thing to her. But family again, like it's a recurring theme. Family is also really important to her. It's not to say she doesn't care about her twins that she has, but it's not sort of something that's going to stop her. And as I said, she kind of feels as well like a relationship might be nice, but if she can't find the right person, like she's happy to die alone as long as she kind of achieves her life's mission, uh, of raising human rights awareness and kind of making some difference there. So she is super, super determined, and she's kind of that person that I think if you're on her bad side, like you're really on her bad side. She appreciates people, of course, that share things in common with her, that share her values. And I think that's really a driving force for her. It makes her sound a little bit judgmental, but it's only because she's so passionate and so driven that that's kind of what makes her a little bit scary. I mean, she's probably the kind of person that you invite out for dinner somewhere or, invite, I don't know, just to go somewhere and she just keeps talking about the things that she's really passionate about. It's like the defining thing in her life. Whereas, for Annabelle, it's like the family and having been adopted. For Elisa, it as well as the family, but it's kind of the adventure. And the big journey of her life really that she's been on. And for Audrina, it's really the career that is the defining thing. So I hope like her story is probably like a little bit different, which I really appreciate, and she's definitely a strong person. I don't know. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed giving the girls a makeover, and these will be up on the gallery. And I guess I will see you in another video. Thanks for watching.